We founded the Passionistas Project in early 2016 at a time when women were taking to the streets to march and protest and to stand in solidarity amidst the growing Me Too and Time's Up movements. We started interviewing empowered women for the Passionistas Project podcast and began to see a common thread, no matter what their walk of life or their passion: perseverance. Whether they chose to use their voice to start a women-owned brand or fight for the rights of the marginalized, we found that all Passionistas are resilient, compassionate, and persistent.
So we began to make plans to honor women who exemplify these qualities by presenting the annual Passionistas Persist Award. Tonight's inaugural recipient personifies the values of the entire Passionistas community, and honoring her is the perfect way to end a weekend focused on the fight for women's equality worldwide.
Most of you know Bellamy Young for portraying First Lady turned Senator turned President Melly Grant on Scandal, and as the equally fierce ex-wife of serial killer Jessica Whitley on the Fox series Prodigal Son. But in 2019, Bellamy took on a more important role outside of Hollywood.
Bellamy serves as a CARE ambassador and lends her voice to raise awareness and support for CARE's mission to eradicate poverty by lifting up women and girls around the world. And in that role, Bellamy has traveled to Rwanda to witness CARE's work firsthand, advocated on Capitol Hill for legislation to empower women and girls, directed and produced the Women Equal PSA campaign featuring Shonda Rhimes and her Scandal co-stars, and so much more.
It is her passion for CARE and her work to empower women worldwide that makes her the ideal recipient tonight. So it is our great honor to present the first annual Passionistas Persist Humanitarian Award to actress, singer, and CARE ambassador, Bellamy Young.
Thank you so much, you guys. I'm so honored to be here with you tonight to receive this honor and on behalf of CARE. And also, I want to say thank you. It's a virtual world these days, but you took the time and the effort. I don't know if everyone can see. You have this beautiful, tangible treasure to me, and I appreciate that a lot, so thank you. I also know that it's been an incredible weekend here at the summit, so I thank you, Amy and Nancy, for drawing us all together. I know that we will all march forward with a greater sense of purpose, a greater set of tools, and a greater sense of community. And once we have found our community, we are unstoppable. I am especially proud to be here today with all you beautiful, like-minded and like-hearted humans to lift up the work that CARE does around the clock, around the globe, day in and day out. I harbor no illusions that this award is for me. I give my joy, my deepest honor in this equation is to get to cheerlead tirelessly for CARE, to shout their goals, their efforts, their triumphs, from every available mountaintop. As I think that most of you know, CARE's mission is to save lives, defeat poverty, and achieve social justice by lifting up women and girls around the world. And as an ambassador, I've had the chance to witness their programs firsthand in Rwanda, to learn about projects globally, to lobby in DC for crucial funding and legislation, and most memorably, to meet folks who were or are involved in the life-transforming programs that CARE crafts based on the needs of individuals and communities worldwide. It remains the honor of a lifetime to learn, to listen, to lobby, to lift up CARE's work. And I know we're going to dive into particulars in our time here together. And best of all, I know that each of you who are here with us is already organizing in your own community. So I just want to take this moment to say thank you. Thank you to CARE for the work they do every day. Thank you to the Passionistas for allowing me to shine their light even brighter. And thank you to you for being here with us and being a part of the fight for women's equality worldwide. I am so excited to watch as we build a fairer, more inclusive, more just world, one act of love at a time. Thanks so much, you guys.
Thank you, Bellamy. That was beautiful. And this is for you as well as for CARE.
Yeah.
We want to make that very clear. We think CARE is an incredible organization, but you in your own right are a really special and wonderful person. So we want you to know that.
Yes. Yeah. So we always start all of our Passionista interviews by asking our interviewee, what are you most passionate about?
I am most passionate about kindness. I just think that kindness comes from empathy. It also comes from self-love. If we can all do our own personal work enough not to be antagonistic to one another, then the world can heal and we can all move forward. I don't believe that the divisions between us come from anything real. I believe we're all connected. And so I think it's just the fear that keeps us apart. So when we can be kind enough to ourselves to realize that connection, then we can be kind enough to others. And even if it's an act as if moment, y'all, I just think kindness is the key to everything. I had an acting teacher once, Lee Kilton Smith, who's a genius. If you're in Los Angeles and acting, look her up. She, in one of our, the very first acting classes that I ever took with her, one of the very first assignments was always do 5 random acts of kindness this week. And from such a strange place, like an acting class, came a practice that is utterly transformative for someone's life. Like if you pay for the person's food behind you in the drive-thru, or you take a bunch of flowers to a nursing home, or we're all afraid to touch money, but used to leave like dollar bills on people's windshield wipers at Gelson's or something like that. It just, that you can watch a person bloom and it will ripple forward just in a very, very, very healing way.
So true. We definitely want to talk to you about CARE, but before we do that, you have chosen a career that is known for having ups and downs, this kind of profession that you're in. So how have you found the power within yourself to persist during challenging times?
I think that one is, of course, different for everyone. It came to me late. It was a bit of a struggle, but I see a beautiful generation of people coming into adulthood now that seem to have sort of an innate facility with this. But for me, the key was when I could do the work to realize that value comes from within, not from without. So anytime you're leaning outside of your heart and trying to get validation from a job or from a partner or from perfectionism or anything like that, you'll never be on balance. And so in order to persist, in order to thrive, in order to have that cycle of energy, which is give and take and put out and replenish, you have to know that it all starts and ends here. So it was a long road for me. There was plenty of bumps and therapists and meditation. But once that really dropped anchor, everything opened up.
So let's talk a little bit about CARE. What inspired you to get involved with them?
Well, you guys, I feel so lucky. First of all, I think we've all had CARE in our consciousness our whole lives. I know I had. The term care package is care. It started 75 years ago during the Second World War with just people trying to be good to other people, packing things that were necessary, mailing them to Europe for people in war-ravaged towns, cities, municipalities around the continent, just trying to help human to human. And what is incredible about CARE is though it's low these many years later, and now it is truly global. I think at this point we're in 95 countries globally. It remains a teach a man to fish sort of organization. So they're not just going in and giving money to a community, which is wonderful. If you have money to give, now is certainly the time to share your wealth. But CARE goes in and asks community to community, what's necessary, what do you need to thrive? And then they enlist people from the community to build infrastructures that are either sort of systemic rubrics, or they are, internal value systems. And their goal is to draw themselves out and allow that city, township, municipality to thrive. So when Renee at UTA, which is my agency, brought this opportunity to get to know them a little more intimately and to get to really start to do some work with them, I couldn't believe my luck, because I really believe in the way they take the time to see people. I believe in the way that they help people. I've seen firsthand how it matters that when you focus on lifting up women, women will bring their communities and their families along with them. I mean, the empirical data is irrefutable. I couldn't be happier to be their cheerleader.
And you were lucky enough to travel to Rwanda as a care ambassador. So talk about that trip, and also talk about whether or not there was maybe one particular story of someone you met while you were there that really stands out to you.
We only got to be there a week, but it feels like a lifetime in my heart, because it so changed me to witness all of the possibility. Rwanda was an incredible country anyway, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But boots on the ground, the care programs there are as diverse as is needed. I think about village savings and loan programs, and that's probably the story that I'll remember most, but safe schools for girls, where you meet the girls who are learning up that they don't have to grow up in situations that are dangerous for them. The men who are coming together as gender fighters, gender social justice fighters, and being taught that as they grow up in schools. The domestic violence programs that they've started there, the interdisciplinary agriculture or sewing, just so many wonderful life-transforming programs. But I think about a lady that I met named Bridget, and Bridget lived outside of Kigali, about an hour, and in the Kamanyi province. And she, in her marriage, had absolutely no power. She had no access to money, any little pennies that she was given. She had to buy soap for the family, or, provide as much food as was possible. And she joined a village savings and loan program. And these women come together, and it's not that they have a lot of money to pool, because they don't, but what they pool is their dreams. And you know how it is when you put your energy towards something and you are met with a like-minded community and you are supported. It is incredible how things can manifest. So over the course of a year, she managed to save a few pennies to put into this village savings and loan, and she was able to take out a loan, and her dream was chickens. And she was able to buy 5 chickens with a loan that she took from her VSL. We met her 5 years later. She had not just repaid her loan, but she had 850 chickens, y'all, and she was gleaning 1,000 eggs a day. And with the profit, of course, she'd repaid into the village savings and loan, but she had also purchased a farm, a vegetable farm, and she had 3 people working for her, 2 on the farm, 1 with the eggs, and she was giving the eggs to the community, so she was nourishing the community. She was mentoring other women. She was still very involved with the village savings and loan. And at home, her marriage had thrived, because, there's no longer this great onus of gender roles of I'm the man and I have to do this and you're the woman and you have to do that. There was equality. And when there is equality, there is support. And so it was just jaw-dropping and unforgettable.
Oh, I have chills from head to toe. That's a great story. Amazing. So talk a little bit more about gender equality. What are some of the keys you've learned to gender equality from your work with CARE?
Well, that's the thing, right? We're all human beings. And to sit here in 2020 and think that still some of us are very much second-class citizens wherever we are, and very much vulnerable, certainly to the climate crisis to war to domestic violence, particularly right now in COVID. People are sheltering, women particularly, are sheltering in place with people who abuse them. I just think I thought when I was small that this wouldn't be something we'd still be talking about. People are equal, period. And in Rwanda, it's a particularly incredible example because, 94, 95, there was a terrible genocide in Rwanda. And so from the sheer truth of the fact that many of the men and boys were killed during the genocide, they built back the country on the foundation of gender equality. So all children are required to go to school, not just boys, because usually you just send your boys and, the girls are over there because they're going to be wives anyway. And so tethered to that is the fact that women can't get married until they're 21. So they get to be humans. They get to find out who they are before they get to be also married and wives and go on with that part of their lives. The parliament, they embedded a 33% requirement of female representation in parliament. And I think when we were there in 2019, they were at 61% of female representation. Pay equity is a truth in Rwanda. So everyone is paid by their job, not by their gender. It's not a fantasy world. This is achievable and appropriate. And so getting to walk the streets in Kigali and see gender equity in action was a bit staggering, I will say, because it was so right. And I long for it to be a global truth, not just that centralized.
It's possible. We can get there.
1,000%. And just looking at...
It's encouraging.
Presidential nominees, our candidates this year, we're making little steps. All the representation matters.
Absolutely, absolutely. And to that end, the work CARE does is so important, and our whole thing this weekend is giving women action items to carry forward so that it's not just a bunch of people talking at them about how to get to this place, but everybody that's been a part of it, we've asked them to give some tip or some action that they can do to make a difference. So how can people that are watching become CARE advocates and help you on this mission?
Yes, we welcome you. It's, it's joyful work, I tell you, because the infrastructure is so strong that people are so passionate. So I invite you along to join us. CARE advocates are folks who work to create change by lobbying their members of Congress to support critical funding for global health and development programs and to support legislature that puts women and girls at the center of developmental efforts. They, like you, organize in their local communities, publish letters to the editors, organize educational events, conduct meetings with Congress members or people who are running for Congress, because we all think about presidential elections, but our down ballot elections are some of the most important in our country. And the people who are feeding into those elections are going to shape our futures and make our laws. So that's so important. It's also really fun to go to DC, you guys, for the CARE National Summit when we can all do that again safely. Or you can join us for the CARE Virtual Advocacy Summit as we have adapted to this particular 2020 lifestyle. But to get more information, you can go to the CARE website, care.org/advocacy, or you can write to CAN@care.org. I like to think that means Care Advocacy Network. I might be making it up, but go to CAN@care.org, drop them a line, and they'll put you in touch with, regional managers who can help you understand how to advocate for your city, for your state, for yourself, for women around the globe.
Perfect. And we will add all that information to the chat and on the Facebook page so that people can find this information easily when we're done.
Yes. So now you recently reunited with some of your Scandal cast and crew and made a PSA for International Women's Day for CARE. So tell us how that came about.
You know, sweet Joel Goldman, whose birthday it is today. Happy birthday, Joel.
Happy birthday.
Works with CARE, and we were in Rwanda and just sort of dreaming about something really special to do for International Women's Day. And he had this wonderful idea, and the moment he said it, it just filled me up like Christmas morning. So I reached out to my girls, and they were thrilled as well because they are familiar with the work CARE does. And you know, the Scandal family, we always support each other. So Carrie and Shonda and Katie and I got together. Actually, Shonda and Carrie did their work in LA, and Katie and I were in New York, so we did our work there. But we came together to tell the story. Didn't want to make it about us. We were just happy to be able to use our platforms to raise up the voices of the women who are important. And so we told, you know, what it is like to spend a day in the life of these women around the globe and to see how vulnerable they are in times of crisis and in everyday life. And I'm so proud of how it turned out. So I think you have it. We're going to take a look at it.
We do. We're going to show it right now.
Some people would say, I don't belong here.
Some people would say a woman can't be president.
That women can't be both mothers and leaders.
That a congresswoman shouldn't wear a headscarf.
Some people say our opinions,
Our experiences
don't matter.
And we aren't alone.
around the world, we get paid less.
When food is scarce, we eat less.
in emergencies, we come last.
As girls, we're pulled out of school first.
And worst of all,
When it comes to assault and sexual violence,
Too often, we are ridiculed.
Pushed to the side,
and not believed.
but I won't stand for that.
That's not the world that I believe has a future.
That's not the America I stand for.
I believe in a world where women are equal.
every day around the world, women fight hunger.
Poverty,
And inequality.
Women equal survivors.
Peacemakers, mothers,
educators.
And leaders.
When women have equal opportunities,
Societies and economies thrive.
this International Women's Day, I am asking you to join the
chorus of people coming together to say that in the face of the world's
Greatest challenges,
We must make women equal.
you can protect women and girls in emergencies.
sign the petition to make women equal.
I'm Carrie Washington, and I care.
I'm Shonda Rhimes, and I care.
I'm Katie Lowe's, and I care.
I'm Bellamy Young, and I care.
Beautiful.
I'm so proud of my girls, and I'm so proud of CARE. You know, the real reason we did that was in armed conflict and natural disasters, climate change. It often has the most effect on the poorest communities and disproportionately among the most vulnerable, including women and girls. So we were helping to promote the Safe from the Start Act, or as it's called in the House, and as it's called in the Senate, the Keeping Women and Girls Safe from the Start. And that is a bipartisan bill that works specifically to prevent gender-based violence, such as rape and child marriage and domestic violence and human trafficking, to prevent that at the onset of the humanitarian crisis and to fully address its impacts afterwards. There is an existing program, but this would solidify and expand on that, identifying support, financial support and legislation to support women and girls globally. And we had an incredible response. Joel can solidify the numbers for me, but everyone who saw the video was able to click a link, and it would help them generate a letter to their representatives. And I think we got like 75,000 letters within the first month generated for CARE, for Safe from the Start. So the bill's been introduced and is, you know, in its process, and we are very hopeful. I know it's a tricky year, but we are very hopeful because it is vital. CARE also has done an amazing, co-sponsored an amazing program this year with Charlize Theron and her Charlize Theron Africa Network, Africa Outreach Project, and the Entertainment Industry Foundation called Together for Her, which specifically, you guys, if your passion is helping women out of domestic violence situations. And this is the program for you to get involved with. Together for Her is really trying to address women's safety globally during COVID. So take a look into those two projects if that's a good place, a good jumping off place for your first sort of interactions with care.
Well, I just want to say too, there are lots of people posting comments, but since we posted the video, a few people have commented and said they're proud of. Stephanie says she's so proud of you, Bellamy. Someone else says, Nadine says that's amazing. Eternity says, I love that. And then, and she also said the video gave me so much peace and power. And that must feel good to hear. And I'm sure that that's why you did what you did. So I wanted you to know that was said.
I just never think, like nobody's more important than anybody else, but some people draw eyeballs. So if Carrie or Shonda says something, it gets much more attention than if someone who's living through something in Rwanda says something, and that is not at all fair. But that is what we were working to combat, is to really just raise awareness, because I know people care. I know people care. And if we can get them to know what's happening, I knew we could bring a little bit, like nudge us a little closer to change. So I'm super grateful. And you know how much I love my Scandal family, so it was extra special.
I can't even imagine how wonderful they all are in person. So.
Right.
Well, we're going to take a few audience questions, but there's one that just came in that I don't want to pass up, because I think it's a really important thing, and it's a focus for us this weekend, which is getting younger people involved. And so there's a question that says, are there ways that people under 18 can help care or be involved?
100%. At any age, care welcomes your enthusiasm. There's so many ways to get involved just in your community or online, or if you want to have an impact globally, you don't have to travel. But I will say that 18 is old enough when we're all healthy enough to get to come to DC, because if you are in America, maybe you're somewhere else, but if you are in America, lobbying Congress is one of the most empowering things you can do, because this country, this democracy, is built on we the people. And the day we were there were like 4,000 people on the Hill lobbying for all kinds of things, and it matters. We like to think that, I'm sad that we like to think that our political process is so removed and happens somewhere else and gets decided by someone else. It doesn't. We elect our representatives. Democracy is a verb, and when you're in DC, whether you're old enough to vote or not, because that part doesn't matter, what matters is truth and story and human connection. When you sit down with a senator and you say, this happened to me, you know, I don't have water, I live in Flint, Michigan, or I've seen about, you know, I've heard about what's happening in Kigali, or this is happening in my community. Their job is to listen and to affect change on your behalf. So it was really one of the most, the proudest moments I've had as an American, is to really feel a part of the process. So that's where I would encourage you to jump in first. Again, when it's safe enough for us all to jump anywhere but into our own beds. But go online, and it also depends on what your passion is, like what you care about most. If it's social injustice, if it's food insecurity, if it's domestic violence, if it's education, if it's health and sanitation, if it's clean water, if it's financial help like Village Savings and Loan, whatever you care about, that's the drive that you should let fuel you. And CARE has so many programs all around the globe that there will be something that resonates with your heart. And age is not a factor.
Great. There's someone who asked about college campuses too. So the same with them. They can go out, they can get this information, they can bring it back to their fellow students, their organizations on campus, and get the word out.
100%. And colleges are like the best place to start organizing, you know, because you really are starting with committed, kinetic group of people who are finding out who they are and what they care about and how they want to change the world. So they're the best people in the world to group and lead and learn from and listen to. And yeah, colleges, yes, well done.
It's great to see so many young people who are getting involved and, you know, want to make a difference. You know, it's exciting. So I have another couple of audience questions that I'm going to ask. One came in from Julie DeLuca Collins. She posted this comment on Facebook. She says, what keeps you from being discouraged and what inspires you to give of yourself?
Julie or Julia? Julie, thank you for that question, because I do think this is an important conversation for us all to have, because especially in 2020, we are only seeing what people are showing. You know, we are having limited, honest, human-to-human contact, and discouragement is part of humanity, and being sad or taking a moment to process things. This is all human stuff, but it's nothing anyone posts about on Instagram, you know, so it's a bit of an extra disorienting year in that way. I found meditation. Meditation helps me so much. My demons are loud and mean. They're so mean, you know, the voice, the tapes in my head. So I have to quiet them that way. I do it before bed so that I don't take any of the mishigash of the day into my dreams. I've always been a very lucid dreamer, so I want to go into that state quiet and open and ready to receive help, man, to start the next day in a different space. But I think most of all is to be gentle with yourself. And by showing yourself kindness, it will calm your, you know, your autonomic system down. Feelings are there to be felt. Let the feelings pass. You are not your feelings, and they will, but if you resist them, they just get bigger. So I think just be honest with yourself. And when you're down, let yourself be down and know that it's going to pass. And maybe in that moment, there'll be a lesson for you. You know, it all happens for a reason, I think. And so I always try to hear the why and the wherefore of the big feeling. And inevitably, if I don't ignore it, it helps move me to the next moment. So that's what I can offer for that. I'm not a professional. I can just tell you what I go through. But I can also say everybody goes through it. And especially this year. This year has been hard for so many reasons, on so many levels, every day. So be extra gentle on yourself this year.
Totally agree. And then I think it's pronounced Christianic on Instagram says, Bellamy, was there someone who impacted you and inspired you to use your voice the way you do and follow your passions of helping better the world?
Thanks for asking that. I have to say, when I think about inspirations, and this is going to, I don't know why I think this is going to sound, isn't that funny how you're like, this is going to sound silly. Doesn't matter how it sounds. It's the truth. Carrie, no joke, Christiane. I'm very lucky because I've worked a lot in my life. There's only been 1 week right out of college that I had a job that wasn't acting. I haven't always been successful. I haven't always made a bunch of money, but I've always gotten to do what I dreamed, and that's a gift. But I never had a steady job until Scandal. And I was like 40 or 40 something at that point. And so I feel like, you know, that feeling when you just come up out of the water and you can catch your breath for the first time, that's sort of what that job felt like for me. And when I caught my breath, straight in my line of sight was Carrie Washington, who always knows the room she's in, knows the people in the room, knows why she's there, knows why they're there, what matters to them. And she always leaves the room a better place. And it doesn't matter if that room is like a makeup trailer or the world. So watching her walk through this life with such thoughtfulness and such grace has been endlessly instructive. Both as a friend, I mean, she's always there for you, making sure you're okay and do you have everything you need, and that kind of checking in. But also like watching her walk through last week, hosting the Democratic Convention one night, writing her own script for that, hosting Jimmy Kimmel in the evening. I know what a good mother she is. She's also, handling school for her kids right now, like so many people are. I know what a good friend she is. I'm impressed and I'm awed, and every day I learn from her. So thanks for letting me talk about it.
That's excellent.
We actually can ask one more audience question. We have a little time for that. So this question is coming from Stephanie, who wants to know, given the current pandemic, how does CARE navigate and fulfill its mission? And what adjustments have you made, and has the pandemic prevented you from doing any of your work?
Well, thanks, Steph, for asking. COVID has both broadened and focused CARE. They, as I say, are a teach a man to fish sort of organization, so nothing is ever a template for them. So they are not knocked off balance by this whole change in world structure and world priorities. What it has done, though, is focus them, because in as much as we were just trying to pull the world out of, let's say, for example, global poverty and food insecurity, the way COVID has hit us is going to set us back, possibly decades in that department. So there's a lot of more strategy to be involved, and a lot more, hopefully gleaning new advocates and new supporters to really help in that fight. Also, domestic violence is another issue that that COVID has just fueled, but so many things. So, as I say, their dictum is fluidity. So they are always ready to respond, because crises are unpredictable. This one more so than anything else. But, wherever you are in the world, if you're in Russia or Honduras or in Ireland or in LA, your needs are never going to be the same, and we can never anticipate what might be around the corner. So they are strategically reactive organization, and COVID has just made everyone step up. And you can go to the website also and see if there's something specifically COVID. Maybe you ask that because there's something specifically COVID related that you have an idea about, and you should check that out and see if anything that CARE is doing lines up with what you're interested in. That would be awesome. And as for me, I think like everyone else, I've been so naive about how long. I think we all in March, we were like, well, so we'll shelter in place for what? For 14 days, right? 14 days? It's been a bit of a learning curve every day, because it's an unprecedented experience in our lifetimes. So what I have tried to do is, take each day as a blessing, because I haven't been sick. Period, full stop. But also meet each day as it comes, because there have been different things to learn, things to work on. If I am in a place of safety, then it is incumbent upon me to try and help others who are not. And on the good side of things, my sweetheart and I have never gotten to be together this long. So every day has been a gift for that. And that's a real source of stability too. The relationship I'm in right now is unprecedentedly stable and kind and loving, and so we're usually together like a week a month, because we live on different sides of the world, but getting to really dig deep into that has been very, very healing and really, really nice.
That's beautiful. All right, so I'm going to sneak in one more fan question, because we have a couple minutes. So given all that, when COVID is over, what are you most looking forward to as it relates to CARE and to your personal career?
I can't wait, if they'll have me, to travel again with CARE. Nothing pleases me more than to learn and to witness the transformational work, the vital, vital work that CARE does. And I will go anywhere that they will share with me. I love getting to talk about it, and getting to talk about things that I've witnessed firsthand is a much more authentic experience for all of us. So, and I do love to travel also, so that will be a joy. So I hope that's in all of our futures. And also because, yeah, well, anyway, I also look forward to hugging. I look forward to hugging, having dinner in a restaurant, and then hugging at the end of it. It sounds like the nicest night. It really does. Just the little things, man.
Yeah, that is what I miss the most too, is going over to her house and hugging her.
I know. It's the longest we've ever been apart. All right, so I think we have to wrap up, sadly. We could talk to you forever, but we have one last question. What's your dream for women?
My dream for women is safety. All else follows from that, because in safety we can find our equality, use our full voices, use our full power. And so those of us who have it, I encourage all of us to do so, to shout from the rooftops and move mountains and make legislation and raise money and change the world until everybody, every woman, every girl is equally safe and can do the same for whomever comes after us. I think that is the monumental barrier. You know, poverty, inequality, domestic violence, food insecurity. I wish we were all safe.
We couldn't agree more. And we are so grateful to you for accepting our award and for sharing your time and your wisdom and your just beautiful energy with us all tonight. It means the world to us that we could present this to you. So our mission in life is to support women. Anything we can ever do to support you and CARE and the projects you are doing professionally and with them, we are a phone call and an email away.
Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you for building this beautiful project. And thanks again for letting me talk about CARE tonight. And I'm so honored to be your first recipient on their behalf. So I'm sending you much love. And everybody who's watching, thank you for being here, devoting your time, focusing your efforts. We can do this. We can make a difference. So I'm sending love to everyone.
Thank you so much, Bellamy.
Thank you.